Hello everyone, my name is Nikita and I'm from the Bodhi Academy. In the previous videos, we had started with the chapter from the 12th standard biology textbook Goa board, that is reproduction organisms, and we have covered the topics. In the previous video, we had seen what are the pre-fertilization events occurring in the sexual reproduction. Today we will be moving on further and will be studying what is the fertilization event in sexual reproduction. So to study this, we need to know that what is the zygote. Okay, we have studied in our previous classes, and also in the previous videos I have mentioned that the male and the female gamete, okay, the male and the female gamete come together to form the zygote, okay, to form the zygote. And if you remember, I had mentioned about the set of the chromosomes which is present in the male and the female. According to that, the male are the gametes. The male gamete and the female gamete are haploid, and the zygote which is formed by the fusion of this male and female gametes is always a diploid zygote. Okay, it has two pairs of chromosomes which has been acquired from the male and the females. Okay, so now this process of formation of zygote by the fusion of the male and female gamete this fusion is called as syngamy or fertilization. Okay, now over here I need to make a mention that in some organisms, for example the rotifers, the female gamete, okay, the female gamete will directly undergo development. It will directly undergo development and form the offspring. Means there will be no fusion of the male and the female gamete. Okay, it will be just the female gamete which will undergo development and will give rise to offspring. And this process is called parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis, wherein the female gamete develops to form the offspring and there is no fusion of gametes. So in parthenogenesis process, there is no syngamy, there is no fusion of the gametes. Okay, now when we talk about fertilization event, there are two types of fertilization. The first one is the external fertilization. Okay, when we say external, when we look at this word external, we understand that external means something at the outside, okay, something outside the body of the organism. So it is external fertilization. Now this happens especially in the amphibians, okay, and the bony fishes. Now, how does fertilization happen in these organisms if it is outside the bodies, external? So in this case, the gametes, the male and the female gametes are released in the external medium. Okay, the gametes are released in the external medium, and in most of the cases, or you can say in all the cases, the external medium is water. The external medium is water, and after they are released, then the fertilization takes place outside. Okay, the fertilization takes place outside the body of the organism. That's the reason it is called as external fertilization. The male and the female release their gametes in the external medium, for example the water, then they come together to form the zygote. So this is called as external fertilization. Okay, now in this case the offsprings produced, okay, the offspring produced are large in numbers, are very large in numbers, and the major disadvantage of this type of fertilization is that the now see, the offsprings are produced outside the body of the organism. So the male and the female, the actual individuals, you can say the parents have no control over the offsprings formed. Okay, they can be formed anyway, they do not have the control. So what happens is that when they are formed, the offspring produced are vulnerable to many of the effects of the environment. Okay, it can be flown through the water, or if there are any other calamities happening, the parent can lose the offspring. So this is the main disadvantage. They are vulnerable to the effects of the environment. Okay, means the large number of offsprings are produced. The main reason is because much of the number of the organisms is vulnerable to the effects of the environment, and it can lead to death of most of the offsprings. So this is one of the disadvantage in external fertilization. Okay, so this is one kind of fertilization. Now the second one which is external. So opposite of external is internal fertilization. Okay, this type of fertilization is the most common, which is found in majority of the higher animals such as the reptiles. Okay, then the animals, mammals. Okay, and also in plants. In plants it is the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms. So what happens in this, the fertilization occurs inside the body of the organism. Inside the body of the organism. Okay, so in this case, always the male gamete is the motile one. Motile means the one which is moving. Okay, and the female gamete is stationary. Now what happens in this case? The fertilization means the formation of zygote, the syngamy, the fusion is occurring inside the body of the organism. It happens inside the body. So the male gamete is the motile one, which means it is able to move, and the female gamete is the stationary one. So the mechanism is the male gamete being motile will move and reach the female gamete. Okay, the male gamete, which is the motile one, will move and meet the female gamete, and there the fusion will happen. The fertilization will happen inside the body. Okay, now in the male gamete is motile, so it is always produced in most of the cases. The male gamete produced is in larger numbers, and the female gamete produced is in the lesser numbers. The fusion of both the male and female then leads to formation of the zygote. Okay, and this zygote is diploid. Okay, now further what happens to the zygote? Further cycles. Okay, cycles of the zygote, development of the zygote to the offspring, zygote to the offspring. This depends upon the organism. Okay, which organism, each organism will have a different cycle. For example, some organisms are haploid and some are diploid. So as I had mentioned in the previous video that if you want to convert the diploid to haploid, then it is meiosis. So meiosis has to take place over here, and diploid to diploid, then mitosis. Okay, so in this case, so these are two kinds of fertilization. Now what about the development? The development of the organism in external fertilization happens outside the body, and internal fertilization, the development happens inside the body of the organism. Okay, it happens inside the body. In mammals, we know that it happens in the womb of the female. okay, there the organism, the offspring develops, and it has various stages. In that way, different organisms have different mechanisms of development, and depending upon the organism, they have different cycles. So this was about the fertilization and the zygote. In the next video, we will be covering the last part, okay, the last part of this chapter, that is embryogenesis. Embryogenesis means the development of zygote to embryo, the formation of the embryo, how it happens in different organisms. Now, in this the internal fertilization, one thing we need to know is in the male gametes, as I had mentioned it in the last class also, last video also, that the male gamete in the flowers, okay, in sexually reproducing flowers, it is present in the pollen grain. Okay, the male gamete is present in the pollen grain, and the pollen tube transfers it to the female gamete. So means the male gamete is the motile one, and it is transferred to the female, it goes into the female gamete. Okay, so this was all about the types of fertilization in sexual reproduction and the formation of zygote. In the next video, I will be covering the last part of the chapter, that is embryogenesis, and that will be the end of this lesson. Okay, so thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel.